Hey guys, welcome back to Fudce playing World End Economica episode 3. And Marco's just hung up on us. Well, the call had ended, so putting that slightly out of context. I shrugged my shoulders, trying to get comfortable, and looked outside. The sun had long since set, and gazing down the road I could make out the gorgeous glowing 100 million mall skyline of Newton City at night. The ties between people were strange things. I thought I made connections with people, and right now I was at the nexus of all that light. Next to that light which encompasses people's dreams and desires, no matter how grand or greedy they were. My taxi silently travelled towards a brilliant light where the majority of humans' wealth was gathered. Oh, this is a nice place. The buildings around Club 25 were like works of art. Tangles of steel and glass were dazzling even in Newton City. One cannot tell where a building started and where it ended. What you thought was a hotel was actually a shopping mall. What looked like a shopping mall turned out to be a part of a park. There itself was probably constructed to look like one big artificial city. Club 25, whose atmosphere of freedom was tucked away in a corner of that complex city within a city. Part of the atrium's terrace jutted out, overlooking a huge artificial pond and a garden where one could often see the rich and famous lounging down below. But even though most people seemed so close, this was not a place one could enter just by wandering in aimlessly. If one could just be there. It's an inaccessible place to go for a lot of security if you could only get there by taking special to the VIP elevator. I was sure exquisite architecture inspired a sense of superiority in the fat cats. Oh, very smash. I passed through the Club 25 entrance, a melting pot of green and wealth, where flowing gold and champagne was shining with a bewitching light. There's sure to be another person from Schweitzer here. Amidst a commotion, I addressed the club's host, who was wearing an earbud. He nodded with a smile. As I was being guided, I exchanged greetings and handshakes with acquaintances I ran into. Inside the club was decorated in dark tones. The centre was a spacious hall with rings of booths surrounding it. The booths were positioned in an alternating pattern for the sake of privacy, so you couldn't get a good look from other alcoves from inside one. As I walked along the ring, I glanced around, looking at the faces of people talking to the booths. Likewise, they took stock of the people passing by them. Even a relative newcomer like me could learn to recognise just about everyone involved in this narrow world of ours. Of course, that meant they recognised me as well. Most of the people holding champagne glasses chatting in the central hall were men in their 30s. There were some older men in their 50s as well. But the most raucous of them, who traded thin champagne and glasses for bottles of high-class brandy, were always in their 20s. Actually, maybe even younger than that. But some people here were dressed in trim suits and neckties. But probably the minorities. Those weren't the kind of investments that poured in profits by buying. They were investment bankers who made their income by selling. Those guys always make a deal with their customers while wearing what unnatural, plus some smiles seem to be blending in chatting with investors. Here we go, Mr. Kura. That introduction was led to a seat in the innermost part of the upper area. It gave us a good view of not only the central hall, but anyone leaving the club. The table already had plenty of food on it, and Marco, staring at his tablet, was fully stuffing his mouth. Oh, I already helped myself. Nothing but fried food. From fish fritters to steak. Cheese was chaotically strewed across the fancy pizza crust. The whole thing was topped off with french fries. That sort of crude food definitely wasn't on the menu, so we must have specifically asked for it. And again, most of those gathered here today were the type of successful lunar investors who are convinced that they own the universe. I guess a club owner would deliver what they ever asked for, and what better proof from the incredible beautiful girls we could see here and there. Surely they were here to fulfill a role that one did not mention out loud. Alan had lamented that the investing world was ruled by meatheads, and this place was very much the same. It's worth noting that tobacco was pretty much a one heavily taxed thing here, as everyone here was smoking. On the surface, where everything had to be recycled or in domes, polluting the air was not cheap. Smoking a big fat cigar cost more than rolling up a $1,000 bill and lighting it on fire. The steak Marco was eating must have been charboiled, but such a menu was quite a statement of defiance on the lunar surface. Do you want anything, Hal? Food here really lives up to the place's reputation. I had some beans and fish at Risa's place. Oh, a moon! Even a monk would eat something more substantial than that. Unfortunately, I don't have much testosterone. Well, I guess you don't have a macho vibe like these guys. chucked over at chaos at the central hall, stuffing his face with steak. Should we get some alcohol? If I recall correctly, the doctor doesn't drink, am I right? I'll also be falling in with sparkling water. You stay away from the alcohol too. I didn't make change the law, so it's at your own discretion now. I'm going to tell you to Eleanor. Fine. Marco sulked and slurped his soup, lifting a bowl and plate up to his mouth instead of quietly eating it with a spoon, as would have been proper. We got a pretty good seat here though, didn't we? We'll be able to see all the units from here pretty clearly. He chuckled cheerfully as I peered through my upper glasses. Other cattle were ones making all that noise. Eagles guys are here too, it seems. Looks like it. That guy in the suits next to him must be their chaperone. So here's their fund provider. While their investment funds were directly funded by an individual manager, there are also cases where an investor by capital they managed from a commercial or investment bank. Commercial? Banks collect deposits from customers and lent out to businesses. We earn from businesses' margin of profit. Some also earn from settlement fees. That used to be a long time ago, however. Investment banks does not only kind of depositors, but mainly lends money by assisting corporate clients to raise funds. 300 investors were given a package, mockingly called a starter kit, composed of funds to manage, and an outsourcing solution for a back office business. The counterpart in that system was that they had to pay back a huge amount of money back to their backer. But even those cattle who couldn't take losses must be renting a lot of money to be invited here. Being a chaperone to such a bunch was probably no easy task. Must be trouble for them if I just cut loose too hard and end up dying face down on a bar counter. But if they were only arrested for disturbing the peace, since they could just hand out a trade designation in the form of a letter, they probably wouldn't care. Oh yeah, it seems like a sponsor helped us out with these seats. Huh? A sponsor? Getting suspicious, I moved the upper glasses on my face, appearing to question him. The whole uproar about Avalon's defeat were merely a public fad. Such gatherings were usually organised by investment banks, looking to make deals, or commercial banks promoting themselves. Those kind of people didn't care about public reputation. All that was important was how much they were paying. In that way, there was no reason to put me up since I was simply trading stocks. At any rate, since I was known as a wooden-legged donkey, it was well known on Lunar Surface how cautious my style of investing was. Come to think of it, who's organising all of this? Huh. The E.J. Rockberg Bank. Didn't you get a message from Chris? No, I didn't. Did Chris get a promotion? By that I meant promotion will be able to get us these seats. She responded to my question with a vacant stare. After a moment he snickered somewhat cheekily, or rather, he had his childish expression, like he wanted to call me an old man for saying something like that. But in that moment Marco cleared his throat deliberately and was about to speak. With a mechanical click, the club lights began to fall. Sorry to interrupt your conversations. So notice of sudden but impeccably pronounced words audible all around the room. A small stage near the entrance lit up, leaving a slender, smartly dressed man holding a microphone. I do not like the look of that guy. I was not very knowledgeable about actors and the like, but I'd seen his face on TV several times. I probably bought it in some popular news anchor or something. Thank you very much for finding time to patronise our establishment in the midst of your work. The organiser of the venue expressed our deepest gratitude to all of you. As soon as he finished speaking, someone whistled. It's probably some young punk. I believe all the people gathered in this hall are amongst the finest on Lunar Surface at seeing the future. I myself wish to have able to focus on something other than yesterday's headlines. The air buzzed with laughter and applause. Seems like he really was a news anchor. We'd like to present you with our greetings from the people of our company, addressed to all of you who are filled with foresight. The small commotion must have been because in this small world, everyone even knew everyone's faces or names. That was just how things worked. The organiser of the E.J. Rockberg Bank, would that mean E.J. Rockberg himself, somewhat of a legend of the Lunar Surface, was about to show his face here? However, this was a ploy used to trick amateurs with less bank, who admire the slightest mysterious and luxurious of the atmosphere of this world. People who would gather here were controlled by two simple thoughts. Put bluntly, how much stuff will the other guy buy me? And how much can I earn with what the other guy buys me? So, let us ask how the people stood here, in a place where thoughts intersected with each other were chosen. Such expectations were amplified with the darkness. However, for my own part, I was worried for some reason. Probably because they had a premonition of some sort. Fact 1. We'd been placed in excellent seats. Fact 2. On the surface, everything was related to power was decided by how much money you made. After an unbearable pause, the young man on stage spoke. Now, Bryce O'Donnell, of the Financial Product Development Department, shall present his greetings. Oh, that guy. Don't like to look at that guy even more. After a slight commotion, the spotlight aimed on the stage moved to another place, illuminating a gentleman in his prime. His hair was combed back and he had a square face, large shoulders, and brows that conveyed strength. A man who looked like that to snatch profit for his own strength like a hunter snatches prey. Like a carnivore in a suit. For 1 second, I thought this man was Barton. After all, Avalon collapsed and his administrators were arrested for fraud and violation of securities laws, he still managed to escape. Of course, it was someone else, so he was late relieved, but O'Donnell had the same air about him as Barton. In other words, a glare wore on owner men who'd seized enormous success, but still hungry for more. But really started my gaze was not O'Donnell, who started his speech. My gaze was locked on his side. That's Chris. Not her on the right. The blonde one on the back. I'm the one who was standing in there. The spotlight was certainly not an assistant to anyone, but as one of the investors who managed to invest in assets, invited for this occasion. She was here. It was Chris. He's right, she really has turned beautiful. I kind of knew she would do. It's quite obvious she was nervous, but Chris was clearly standing here as someone who had made it. She had graduated from university in no time, and actually the second she had registered, she became an intern for an investment bank. She probably thought her skills would be fit for a place, and joined the biggest commercial bank on the lunar surface, C.J. Rockberg, where she could make the most of her talent in mathematics and applied investment. It was here Mr. S. agreed that Chris could wrench some modicum of success. Chris had said she wanted to live true to her feelings, and here she was taking her first strong steps into her own way of life. I noticed that I started smiling, which surprised me. Chris was always somewhere in my heart. There was also the fact that I'd been able to respond to her affections, which made me worry about her. Just as Risa kept treating me like a child, I still viewed Chris as a reliable young girl. As I seen Chris actually make her strides on her own was filling me with joy, but also what I understood was a bit of loneliness. Which is why it's our earnest hope that securities we develop and sell will help with diversifying your investment portfolio and providing an increase in performance. Originally meaning a case to carry documents in. In financial terms, it denotes the details of several investments. O'Donnell's greetings had advertised his own product were not included with severe cajolery, but with a dignified air. Followed by applause and cheers to match. It's quite a rare sight to behold, buyers actually directing their applause, whistles and cheers to sellers. Seems the leader of the development team whose peculiar securities were so popular, and I'd heard of. Marco kept staring at O'Donnell without blinking, taking notes on his tablet all while, without looking at his hands. Even Marco was a prodigy in his own right. Just common sense that someone like Eleanor would have never let Marco be at her side because he had a liking for her. This concludes Mr. O'Donnell's greetings. You can resume enjoying your party. As for securities our bank composes and sells, the development team members will explain with details directly. The best quants in our bank will also present this gathering. Of course, we may be able to answer any mathematical related questions. However, please understand that assisting with your son's homework will cost an additional fee. Lights came back up, and after that last equipment and laughs that followed, music and a slight commotion filled the club once again. People had already started to matter around O'Donnell, his team. I didn't need my opera glasses to tell that Chris was frozen with nervousness. However, she was not cowering. When asked questions, she looked quite capable of answering. I even thought she'd give Risa a call about this. So these would be the securities that institutional investors have begun to hear about since last year. Even though we're usually into debts and loans, as of late it seems that even people who mainly do stocks are buying them. Institutional investor, the counterpart of private investors. Mainly a corporate entity such as a bank's own trading division or an insurance company investment division, investing in investment or pension funds. Most of the actual trades are conducted by institutional investors. Market system considered to be unfavourable for private investors. Yeah. Brought it back to reality as I glanced at Marco, who was still staring at his tablet. How? Do you know about these rights? I shrugged, dodging his jokingly provocative stare. The investment world is huge, and new financial products were coming out more regularly with detergent and toothpaste. It was obviously impossible to be versed in all of them. Only superficially, Fudce is just a rehash of a concept of security that existed on Earth for a long time. But seeing how popular they are, it's probably not the case. What's the catch? They're known as ABS, which stands for Asset-Backed Securities. The principle is basically gathering loans which rig their payments into one claim. So claim A, price 1 million, monthly interest 10,000. Claim B, price 2 million, monthly interest 20,000, equals claim C, 3 million, 30,000. Equals 30,000 more. Claim D, 3 million, monthly interest 30,000. Whereby claim C or claim D, monthly interest will be 30,000. For instance, if you had one estate loan of 1 million moles and another one of 2 million moles, the idea would be to combine them into a single loan for 3 million moles. With that I saw right away how it worked. It was a classical system. It already existed on Earth by the second half of the 20th century. As to why they were doing this, is because if we start getting a 3 million more loan at the start, the debtor ended up going bankrupt, it would turn up as a complete heavy loss. But the two loans were respectively 1 or 2 million moles, even if one turned up to go bankrupt, it would still be possible to claim money from the remaining one. Since C is a composite claim made of A and B, if B collapses, A remains and interest is paid continues. Claim D of it, if it collapses, the interest payments cease. Okay. The probability of 2 people ended up bankrupt at the same time was lower than 1 for a single person, as this serves as a hedge against the risk. So basically it's a hedge fund. Hedge avoids losses and gives insurance. Basic example, if you buy a stock for 100 yen, short sell it, you don't suffer any losses regardless of where the profit price is. Okay. So it seems like once I take a big loan with several tens of millions of following this principle, this will go into units of 1 million more or so. It takes a lot of people. It works on the principle if the price is not low, the buying class increases, I guess. Besides more investors buying these securities, if they turn up a loss over a split between everyone, so individuals would be quite low. Seems to be how their stuff works. I'm going to claim A to 1 to 100 does not collapse at once. Claim B went up at a value of 0. Leave a comment if you do understand all of this. I vaguely understand it, but yeah, it's normal, isn't it so? As you said, it looks like these kind of securities have existed since long ago. It seems that what makes their side is the claim structure. He raised his glass to his tablet, looked at the hall in the central club. Green investors were completely surrounding this O'Donnell guy and his team. Seems like they're not simply merging the loans and splitting the claim, actually trying to do tranching. Tranching? Huh? It looks like the claims are divided into 3 tiers: senior, mezzanine and junior. Senior is the safest, mezzanine, as the name suggests, is in between, and junior is the riskiest team. So if a loan ends in default, the first tier to take a loss is the junior. I visualised a 3-story building in my head. In the event of a flood, the first floor would immediately be flooded, while a third floor would be safe until the situation was really dire. The rent would be changed accordingly. For rent, this meant that the lowest floor would be the cheapest. For claims, things were a bit different. But in return, the most risky junior tier has the best interest payment then. I uttered these words and glanced into the hall. Just at that moment, Chris was shaking hands with a delicate-looking man wearing a white suit holding a battle of bandy. And she was completely flustered and patted her on the shoulder. For 1 second, I was about to yell, "What are you doing to her?" But instead, I was utterly dismayed at myself for feeling enmity for the guy, even though she wasn't my girlfriend or anything. Yes, as a trade-off for good interest payments, the junior claims would absorb the loss. If it wasn't enough, the mezzanine will be next. After that, it's a senior tier. So yeah, the senior claims called senior because they value safety over everything else. But if claim A collapses, mezzanine and junior will take the brunt. So only after mezzanine and junior tiers have collapsed, that senior will suffer a loss. Oh, I get it. So they pay money in, and they get interest back. But you get less money back. You still make money, but you make less money if you take a high risk. Interesting strategy. But the reality of things doesn't seem like the most dangerous tier, mezzanine, you're going to take any loss. Really? Looking at Marco, he's looking at the tablets, lip twisted, his head tilted. After all, these claims are rated AAA, the same as Advanced Nation. It's basically guaranteed to never default. Wow. This world, where countries with financial products, not all investors are investing knowledgeable about risk of them. Hence, as in any other field, anyone need to give them a lead. That's why reward investment for claims on stocks, or really anything you call investment, is a specialised company but would estimate the degree of danger in rank these products. There wasn't a state agency or anything linked, but since there were no other options, every investor around the world did their job while trusting the ranks decided by the ranking companies. They reached an extent where people and governments were scared how a private ranking company would rank their national bonds. If ranks were to fall, the value of the national bonds would fall in the international market. The government's interest in payment, that is their debt, would go through the roof. Since ranking companies had acquired way too much power, there were quite a few disturbing rumours about them. But since the ranking committees had brought so much money, they prefer to remain completely beyond reproach and preserve that reputation rather than taking a bribe. In this field, it's not whether or not things are in accordance with ethics and taste of a person would act ethically, but whether or not it would bring a loss or a gain. It was really fitting for lunar surface, and personally I didn't dislike ranking companies. I guess I had calculated mathematical probability of a claim defaulting, which is concentrating on risk of the lowest claim tier, junior tier, thereby adjusting things so risk can get AAA ranking. Now I see. With AAA ranking, you're able to buy things where you can't afford to take risks, like earth pension funds or foundations after all. Even investment institutions with solid credit on the field. It wasn't like they could purchase every type of project at will. Earth especially had very strict regulations. For instance, the organisation that managed the pension funds for American teachers was in charge of what would pass as huge amounts of money on the moon, but since it was a public organisation, they were forbidden by law to handle risky products. We're not allowed to invest in many projects not ranked AAA by ranking companies, that is, having the same level in safety bonds as the top grade advanced nations or corporate bonds from elite companies. However, while the quantity of such products in the world was finite, greed knew no limit. In the world of trade, demand was above the supply. If mathematics can explain their AAA rating, I think that's the very reason Chris is here. Even though lunar surfaces are full of young people, Chris looked especially young in this team. However, her aptitude in maths was something anyone in the world would accept, regardless of age or gender. It's hard to be security itself for. She smiled creepily as I asked this. The International Financial Products Association has data, but it's really baffling. Why? Mark read my question. In the last month, 1.7 billion. What? 1.7 billion in only 1 month? AJ Rockberg is a commercial bank. So my guess is they're taking their own loans to create securities. We're selling out with that. Even so, that's too big of a sum, don't you think? The cycle probability goes like this. Securities sell, this means money income. She can loan again, and further create securities from those loans. She can sell, and so on. Well, that's impressive business there. When selling securities, they must be taking a commission. In creating a loan, it must be the same. The bank takes no risk in holding a loan, but don't even need to worry about waiting for a loan to be liquidated. Good choice of words. Really was impressive business. And this is what I thought. But this should only concern E.J. Rockberg. How come all these investors were going on to her about it? A ranking of AAA was an indicator of nearly absolute safety. Conversely, it was a truthful world that safe investments had low returns. What about the rate? The interest rate is bad no matter how good a business in a bank. Would never become as popular, right? Yes, you're right. The junior claims have the highest rates of a yield of 7%, mezzanine 5, and... Huh? weird, it's not that high. Right after Marco said that, this is a product of alchemy. A hoarse voice made itself known, and we both raised our faces. It's the old dude again. We'll hear what the old dude says next time, shall we? Until then, thank you very much for watching. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.